A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to your News at 9, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscourt.
And I'm Florine Rajendran. Before going to the stories in detail, here's a look at tonight's headlines.
President says that he will extend his best wishes to Maithripala Sirisena. UMP charges that the government holds double standards as it prepares to investigate claims made by Navin Dissanayake that he was offered 100 million rupees to remain in government. Rishad Baduddin's party comes forward to fill the vacant National List seat in Parliament. A street drama crew comes under attack in Epavala.
Speaking at a meeting with the heads of print and electronic media institutions today, President Mahinda Rajapaksa extended his best wishes to common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena. The president also said that no matter who leaves the party, it will not pose a problem.
Heads of print and electronic media institutions called on President Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning at Temple Trees. At the meeting, the president said that his victory at the elections is definite. Noting that he has full confidence in his cabinet, the president rejected allegations raised by certain persons that they were not allowed to be active in their ministries. The head of state also emphasized that he always provides hospitality to anyone who comes to visit him at Temple Trees. Minister Keria Rambukwala, Professor G.L. Pires, Nimal Siripala de Silva and Anura Priyadarshana Yapa and senior government officials were present at this meeting. Meanwhile, President Rajapaksa also convened a meeting with members of the Coconut Cultivators Association this morning. The head of state had said that no matter what allegation is levelled against the government by persons who despise the development of the nation, the development programs that are initiated for the betterment of the public will go ahead.
On to a developing story this evening, the United National Party says that it opposes the hidden agenda behind the order issued to conduct investigations following the statement made by former Minister Navin Dissanayake that persons had attempted to bribe him with 100 million rupees in order to remain with the government. Issuing a statement, the UMP says that this is an attempt to stop MPs and ministers who defect from the government from levelling allegations against the government.
In its statement, the UNP says that it is not difficult to comprehend the sudden compassion shown towards eradicating corruption and fraud and to make inquiries into it. The UNP says that controversial points raised by Navin Dissanayake with regard to expenditure on the building of roads by the Ministry of Highways has led to this haste. The party questions as to why a similar decision to investigate was not taken in the case of the statement made by Minister Vimal Weerawansa, where he claimed to have been offered 600 million and a luxury house in Colombo, and the statement made by Minister Lakshman Seneviratne, who claimed he had been offered 450 million to cross over. The UNP also notes that although information came to light that the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption investigated several government ministers, the results of these investigations have not been released. Furthermore, the UNP adds that while it has no opposition to an investigation being carried out into Navin Dissanayake, it is opposed to such an investigation being undertaken with a hidden agenda.
Minister Rishad Baduddin, leader of the All Ceylon Mughal Congress, says that the party has accepted the National List parliamentary seat that was left vacant following the resignation of AHM Azwar. Speaking to Newsfirst, Minister Baduddin said that the ACMC's Azmar Ali will take oaths as an MP on the 12th of December. He further noted that they would arrive at a decision on the future course of action following discussions with the President tomorrow.
Well, meanwhile, the Bar Association of Sri Lanka has warned that if the Colombo Municipal Council does not take steps to remove election campaign hoardings in the Colombo city by Monday, the BASL will take the matter to court. BSL President Attorney at Law Upul Jayasuriya made this statement at a media briefing convened at the association's headquarters today.
සඳුදා
We will give them time until Monday. If these cutouts are not removed by Monday, we have decided to take the matter to court. I state that we will take the matter to court. The Presidential Election Act clearly states that it is illegal for one to provide food and drink and entertain people with cash or by any other means in order to affirm one's candidacy. It states that it is an offence that is punishable with a prison term. Over the past several days, we have seen that 3,000 or 4,000 people are brought to a certain palace each day and are given food and drink. On various occasions, the Elections Commissioner has called on the relevant officials and asked them not to do this. However, it is evident that there have been no response. I wish to state that we will not remain silent and that our recourse will be to take this matter to court and initiate legal action. Upul Jayasuriya also commented on steps taken recently to return gold seized from the LTTE to the rightful owners. A problem has arisen as to who possessed this gold for so long. When the police or anyone else seizes gold that belongs to someone else, it should immediately be submitted to court. It becomes a case item. The case items should be returned to the rightful owners through court and not by politicians.
The United People's Freedom Alliance convened a media briefing today. Let's take a look at some of the views expressed at this media briefing.
Over the recent past, many of our supporters had erected cutouts in lieu of the President's birthday without keeping us aware of it. This was before nominations were called for the upcoming elections. Therefore, citing this as an act of violating election laws is wrong. A pact has been reached with the JHU. There is a pact between Sirisena and the JHU for a unitary state. It says that the country will be protected. If the JHU and Sirisena has an agreement, then there definitely needs to be one with Wickramasinghe as well. They showed one that was signed by all, but that is not the correct one. There are rumors about it. When that agreement was reached, Chandrika said a united country will be created. United means a federal one. The opposition always carries false propaganda. They say that one member has crossed over and later they say that another one crossed over. They even said that Minister Vimal Weerawanse was defected. There are only 31 days more for the presidential election. Give it a day or two, more persons will join with us. A media briefing was convened by a group who call themselves JVP activists working towards democracy. Former JVP MP Anuruddha Polgampala said that he will contest at the upcoming presidential elections.
The JVP started venturing onto a path taken by certain factions, which resulted in the inception of several other factions. As a common consensus could not be reached, deceit prevailed. The party started to function on petty hopes like attaining leadership at the expense of others. That is the time at which many decided to leave the party. Today the JVP is not functioning under the leadership of Anura Kumara Dissanayake. The party is operating as a faction under Anura Dissanayake at present. We will form a new political venture from many formidable forces to begin a brand new chapter.
Anura Kumara has not only fallen into the hands of multinational companies and non-government organizations, but also large-scale businessmen.
Now, various views were expressed on the political stage with regard to the abolishment of the executive presidency and crossovers.
Politics is in decline today. When they cross over from one side to another, they speak of the treason towards the other side. The other side calls them heroes. Just as we see unprincipled and indisciplined politics, I believe the same fate has befallen the public service.
A person who does understand that burden of the people will destroy the country. There are certain times when this country would have been handicapped. They feel pleasure when they are in those AC rooms and when they get the taste of this and forget the poor. They forget those in government service. These are the people who are consumed in power. They will not abolish the executive presidency because they have tasted it.
There are 5 years to go forward. There are many groups who want to stop this, so they make up lies. They tell us to have democracy. If one needs to sell something, they will create a need. The Hello Urumia says that they only want to come for 100 days. These 100 days are for their own fun. This election is an election that can change our future. This election could end your hunger. It is an election that can create an environment that will enable your children to have a good education. This is an election that can create an era for the creation of employment, establishing of democracy, securing human rights, creating a law-abiding society and stopping crime and corruption.
Do not think that common candidate Maithripala made the decision to leave last week. 3 days before he left, he raised his hand in support of the candidacy of the president at Temple Trees. The next day, he conducted several meetings and even ate hoppers there. When the cabinet met yesterday, even the president said that he won't give anyone hoppers anymore. Before he left, he enrolled around 800 persons and even held a media briefing. He stabbed the president in the back. Before he left, he didn't have the courage to tell his leader that he is leaving. You're watching the news at 9, coming to you live on MTV Sports and Shakti TV. Here's what's coming up on the news tonight. Tensions flare in Chilla following the death of a schoolboy in a road accident. Details coming up later on in the bulletin.
Now, a street drama crew came under attack during a performance in Epavala. The police said that the complaint has been lodged, citing that the attack was launched by the area residents. Now, a street drama crew came under attack during a performance in Epavala. The police said that the complaint has been lodged, citing that the attack was launched by the area residents.
Several civil organizations staged a street drama in Epavala this morning, depicting stories around several topics, including the abolishment of the executive presidency. The drama was leaving the premises. Our correspondent said that a number of crew members sustained injuries owing to the attack. The crew later lodged a complaint with the Epavala police. Meanwhile, the area residents in turn lodged a complaint with the police, citing that they were attacked by the street drama crew. The police say that investigations have been launched into the complaints lodged by both parties.
The chairman of the Mawatagama Pradeshiya Sabha, Upul Perera, who turned himself over to court in connection with a recent clash with a group of UMP supporters in the Mawatagama town, has been released on bail.
The confrontation occurred on the 21st of November while a vehicular procession carrying UNP Mavathugama organizer J.C. Alavathuvala was passing a UPFA office located in the town centre. 13 persons, including the chairman of the Mavathugama Pradesh Sabha, turned themselves over to the Pilasa magistrate through an attorney this afternoon. Pilasa magistrate Namal Pereira ordered that the suspects be released on bail set at 5,000 rupees each and 2 bonds of 100,000 rupees each. Parliamentarian Sujeeva Senasinghe says that no person should be given a third term as president. He made this statement at a media briefing held in Kandy.
A group including the opposition group who were involved in defeating the 2015 budget of the Madadumbara Pradesh Sabha were present at the media briefing today. The budget of the said Pradesh Sabha was defeated with a majority of 1 vote. While 6 ruling party MPs failed to appear for the budget vote, 6 voted in favour of the budget yesterday. 7 of the MPs exercising their right to vote in the Pradesh Sabha defeated the 2015 budget of the Ududumbara Pradesh Sabha.
No person can hold power for 3 terms. Nelson Mandela couldn't do it and Mahatma Gandhi couldn't do it. These great persons understood that. Nelson Mandela was only in government for 4 years and then he handed it over. 8 to 12 years is perfectly enough. After 8 years, the wiring of the head begins to change for any person. After 12 years, the wiring is haywire, and this happens to anyone. It is not the president's mistake. It is the human nature. We ask the people not to give them a third term. Even in the UN, you cannot hold any position for more than 2 terms. Deputy Leader of the United National Party MP Sajith Premadasa commented on fraud and corruption at an event held in Tangol yesterday.
The event was held last evening to provide building material to the Hidayatul Masjid Mosque in Nalagama, Tangol.
There was a time when members of the opposition defected to the government. When defections occurred from the opposition to the government, they received privileges and benefits and their files were not opened. Now, when people cross over from the government to the opposition, when they come through the saloon door at Sirikota, they say that they have files on them and that they can open these files if necessary. For several years, what have the ministers and MPs in the government done? They have stolen, they have been corrupt and fraudulent.
Meanwhile, a tense situation has arisen following the death of a student in a road accident in Chilau. A 13-year-old boy was killed in this accident. The victim has been identified as 13-year-old Himesh Eranda, a student of St. Mary's College in Chilau. A resident of Mike Kulama in Chilau, he was the only child. Our reporter says the boy was run over while returning home from school. A tense situation broke out in the area following the accident.
I heard a loud noise. Then I saw the collision and the motorbike was under the lorry. I shouted, telling them to stop. Then he stopped and stood there and the child fell.
The Chilau police intervened to restore order. The police say that the driver, who was attacked by area residents, has been hospitalized. The body of the schoolboy is currently lying at the Chilau General Hospital.
Business news, a group of people who made deposits with the CIFL finance company went to Temple Trees today demanding a permanent solution to the crisis they are facing.
It was 2 years ago that CIFL, or Central Investment and Finance PLC, which is a financial institution registered under the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, crashed. As a result, around 5,000 depositors are unable to reclaim the deposits that they have made since March 2013. A group who are faced with this crisis gathered opposite Temple Trees in the hope that the President would provide a solution to their problem. Even though they were not allowed to enter Temple Trees initially, following the intervention of the police, several members of the group were later allowed into the premises.
We were hoping that a secretary from Temple Trees would assist us, but we were instead directed to a Mr. Kodikara from the Citizens Unit. He said that he will look into our situation and will set a meeting with the President, or we will receive a letter.
We have to find a solution to our crisis before the upcoming presidential election. That is why we need to influence the President with regard to this matter, or we will resort to speaking with the common candidate.
A high phosphorus content has been discovered in the soil at the location in Puthukudi, where the LTTE murdered abducted Inspector of Police Jayratnam. Excavations are currently underway at the location, which was revealed to the Terrorism Investigation Division by an LTTE suspect.
A 9mm bullet was discovered about 25 centimeters underground at the location where IP Jayratnam is said to have been murdered. The police say that the bullet has been referred to the Government Analysts Department for further analysis. The police say that a suspect in custody had revealed that IP Jayratnam was shot dead after he collapsed unconscious while engaging in hunger strike in 2006 while in LTTE custody. The suspect had also revealed that the body had been burnt about 10 meters from the location and that the ashes and burnt body parts had been scattered in the sea. Excavations are underway in a 9 square meter area where the body was reportedly burnt. A group from the Agriculture Faculty of the Rajawati University are assisting in the dig. Officers from the 23rd Defence Regiment are also participating in the dig.
The case pertaining to the mass grave that was unearthed at the grounds of the Mathale General Hospital was taken up again today at the Mathale Magistrates Court. 155 skeletons were discovered when the land where the hospital premises is located was excavated on the 26th of November 2012 to build a biogas unit. The court granted permission to the lawyer representing the aggravated parties to obtain the copies of the report of the dating research conducted on the skeletal remains by a laboratory in the US.
The problem here is surrounding the time frame of the incident. Many local experts believe that we have a shorter time in comparison to America. However, we should assess reports compiled by both international and local experts. We still haven't seen the report. The judge had made a statement saying that this murder had taken place in the 1950s based on an excerpt taken from the report. Even if this was committed in the 1950s, what needs to be ascertained is whether this was murder or not.
The ones who died are the people who we knew. They are the people of this nation. The country is now facing something that was committed in the past. A mass murder was committed. Therefore, a report should be presented to ward off all suspicion. Hearings were postponed to the 16th of January.
The Education Steering Committee, a collective of teachers and student unions, say a need has arisen for a joint struggle to secure sufficient funding for education as a result of the government's failure to make the necessary allocations. They clarified their stance on the matter at a media briefing convened in Colombo yesterday.
The Education Steering Committee comprises of several organizations in the education sector, including the Federation of University Teachers Associations, the Ceylon Teachers Union, the Lanka Teachers Services Association and the Inter-University Students Federation.
The budget shows the scope of a government. 19.9 or 20% has been allocated for the Ministry of Defence and Urban Development. That is 1/5 of the budget. 10% has been allocated for the shining roads and bridges that we speak of. But for education, general education, they have only allocated 2.5%. It is even less for higher education. So the direction this country is headed in is clear. The government must be taught a good lesson, and the day on which we can teach them that lesson is at hand. I believe this is the only means by which we can teach them this lesson.
The politicization that is occurring within the education system is a serious matter that escapes our scrutiny. Acting principals are serving in close to 5,000 of the 9,905 schools. The school system is being operated by principals who have been appointed based on political allegiances and been suffragans of politicians. We must join with all factions and ensure a victory for tomorrow.
බද්ධ කරගත යුතු සියලු පාර්ශවයන් බද්ධ කර ගනිමින් හෙට දවසේ ජයග්‍රහණය දක්වා ගෙන යා යුතු තිබෙනවා. අපි අරගලයක් කරලා සමාජගත.
While we engaged in a struggle and demanded 6% and committed it to everyone's minds, the President, presenting the budget in 2014, has allocated a pitiful sum for education and placed the burden on parents entirely. We must defeat this national crime. If not, what will happen in the future is that all of them, Bandula Gunawardana included, will go home and there will be no more schools. That is what will happen.
The sale of degrees and diplomas in state universities has commenced. We are at a decisive juncture. Although they said that there was no room to enroll more students when we demanded it, now they are enrolling students for money and conducting tuition classes inside universities. We must unconditionally fight against the principles of these rulers.
පාලකයන්ගේ ප්‍රතිපත්ති සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඒ ප්‍රතිපත්ති වලට විරුද්ධව කොන්දේසි විරහිත අරගලයක් කළ යුතුයි.
Taking a look back at one of our local stories, speaking on national security at an event held in the auditorium of the Organization of Professional Associations in Colombo yesterday, Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa expressed the following views.
The most critical thing for Sri Lanka today is the maintenance of peace, maintenance of stability. Ensuring that our present progress does not become obstructed requires continuity. All of the problems resulting from 3 decades of terrorism cannot be solved in a very short period. The sheer range of issues was too great to have been dealt with comprehensively in such a short span of time. Nevertheless, the government has focused on addressing these issues in a systematic way.
In sports news, English cricketer Eoin Morgan has been appointed as the captain for the upcoming 4th ODI against Sri Lanka as a result of Alistair Cook receiving a 1-match ban for maintaining a slow over rate in Wednesday's match. Meanwhile, the election of the office bearers for the Sri Lanka Badminton Association, which was to be held on the 12th of this month, has been postponed to next year. The decision was taken during a meeting between the Badminton Association and the National Olympic Committee this evening. The decision to postpone the election was taken after the National Olympic Committee and the Sports Ministry advised against the SLBA's decision to hold the election on the 12th of this month. The Secretary of the National Olympic Committee, Maxwell De Silva, stated that the outcome of the election on the 12th will only be valid till the 31st of this month, and as a result, the badminton election will be postponed to next year. The SLBA initially decided to have the election on the 12th of this month after being advised to do so by the World Badminton Federation. The National Olympic Committee stated that the WBF will be informed of this change.
And that's a wrap of tonight's edition of Primetime News. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Florine Rajendran.
And I'm Joel Outscoon. Have yourself a great weekend ahead.